Hello and welcome to the video where we'll be talking about how to save and invest enough money to retire in under 10 years, especially if you haven't done anything, if you're just starting. It may seem like a daunting task, but it can be done with careful planning and discipline. It is definitely achievable. So let's get started. I used to be a financial planner and now I'm a chief financial officer, and I've talked to a lot of people about their money. And one of the things that comes up more than anything is people feeling regret and anxiety because they haven't started investing. They haven't started saving, even though they are now middle-aged. They plan to, but it just never happened. We all have grand plans that we're going to start saving and investing young. We know how much it compounds over time, how beneficial that is. But life happens. As Mike Tyson once said, that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, and that happens to all of us. We lose a job, we have to move, our company folds, we have unexpected expenses. Next thing you know, you're 40 and you have nothing saved. So we're going to focus on how to get started even though you haven't done anything. Also, as the Japanese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree is 100 years ago, but the second best time is today. So today is the second best time to get started. So it's possible. I did it. Many other people have done it and are doing it or on the plan to saving for early retirement or financial independence, but it takes planning and discipline. So let's talk about the plan. I've broken it up into 6 steps and then some considerations. And step number 1 is determining your goal. What are you saving for? What's the objective? How much money do you need to retire to afford the lifestyle you have now? Determine what kind of lifestyle you want when you're financially independent. Are you going to keep working? Are you going to move to another city or another state? Do you expect the same expenses? 2 rules to keep in mind when considering how much you need to save is the 25x rule and the 4% withdrawal rate. So you take your expected income in retirement, which is probably less than what you have now because some expenses go away when you are no longer working, like commuting and car expenses and eating out with your coworkers, etc. But take that amount and multiply it by 25. Let's say you make $100,000. You want to keep living off $100,000 in retirement. Take $100,000 times 25. You need to save up $2.5 million. If it's $50,000, then obviously it's half that. And there's some considerations we'll talk about at the end of the video on how you can reduce that needed amount from $2.5 million, which is a lot of money, especially if you're starting later, how you can look at some different alternatives that make it much more achievable. So stick around to the end of the video and we'll talk more about that. Then the 4% withdrawal rate is expect to withdraw 4% at the most out of your portfolio every year. So if you've saved up $1 million, you can withdraw 4%, which is $40,000. That's an easy rule of thumb. You can live off $40,000. If you have some retirement benefits or some other income from different places, then you can add that on top of the $40,000, or you can just take out less, and you'll need less than the $1 million, as an example. So step number 2 is be sure to maximize your contributions to tax-advantaged accounts. Tax-advantaged accounts such as your 401k or your IRA. It's a key strategy for saving for an investment because these accounts offer tax benefits that help your money grow faster. You're putting money into the account that is a larger sum that can then go faster. There are limits to how much you can put away in these accounts every year. So be sure to max out those accounts, starting with your 401k. If you have an employer that offers a 401k, be sure to max out at least up to the match, because that match money is free money. And then match out your IRA and possibly your HSA, your health savings account, if you have one. Step number 3 is live below your means. So to save for retirement, you need to invest and put away as much money as possible every single month. And the more you live below your means, you cut your expenses, the more money obviously you're going to have to put away every month. So cut back on unnecessary expenses and try to live frugally with still enjoying your life. Some ideas for that I outline in a video you can see here, where I outline 35 different ideas on how to cut your expenses. A couple of them are or consider downsizing your car or your home. If you're paying too much for either of those, you can downsize to a smaller house or a less expensive car. Get rid of your car entirely if you can. Reduce entertainment expenses, cook at home, delete some of the food ordering apps on your phone. That's just a temptation for you to spend more money. But most importantly, keep track of your expenses. I use an app called Mint that pulls all my transactions from credit cards and from my bank account and puts it in categories so I can see how much I'm spending in each category. And it really brings to light where you might be spending more than you think. You might be spending more than you had planned or even expected on restaurants, for example, on eating out. And seeing all that data that you can review every week or once a month really helps you cut back on those expenses that you might not even know about. There's only so much you can cut down expense-wise. So the next step is to increase your income. Increasing your income is unlimited. You can increase it as much as you want to work or the potential you have in a certain job or a certain side job. So increasing your income is a key strategy for saving money, as much money as possible, and shortening the time frame to financial independence. So consider taking some freelance work, negotiating a raise at your current job, or pursuing a different job. Forbes came out with a report a while ago that said that if you stay at your job without getting a promotion or raise more than 2 years, then it's holding you back. So consider moving jobs if you're not getting promoted or getting a raise every couple of years to continually increase your pay, especially nowadays where real wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Some companies have been doing great at raising wages. If your company hasn't, then consider another job because you're just losing money as inflation stays high, which it probably will for the foreseeable future. Number 5 is invest aggressively. I don't mean to invest in risky things, but put a lot of money away aggressively into something like an index fund or stocks or high growth assets that have potential for future returns that have a good risk reward trade-off. So don't go for the risky things, but go for the things that have the best reward for the least amount of risk. And index funds tend to be that. Number 6, this is a hard one because this is psychological. It's to stay focused and to stay disciplined. Stick to the goal. Stick to your budget. Keep maintaining those contributions to the retirement accounts and live below your means. One of the best ways that Michaela and I found to do that is to meet every week and review our expenses, our expenditures, our budgets, and to see how we're progressing. That helped us continue to move forward and continually evaluate how we're doing and improve. And that's how we made so much progress on paying down $200,000 of debt and then saving enough for financial independence. So those are the steps, and here's some things to consider to supercharge all of those steps. Consider downsizing your living situation. We talked about moving to a smaller home, a more affordable home or an apartment, or moving to a different city, or possibly a different country where things are less expensive. Avoid unnecessary debt. Try to pay things in advance, pay things with cash, and pay off any high interest credit cards or other debt because that is dragging you down. If you're investing money that is earning 6 to 10%, but your credit card is charging you 20%, then you're going backward. So pay down that high interest credit card because it's slowing you down. And then take advantage of catch-up contributions. If you're over the age of 50, you may be eligible to add more to your 401k and to your IRA than most people. It's called a catch-up contribution. That will help you go even faster. Next, consider working longer with the goal of saving for retirement of 10 years. If you're not quite there yet, keep working until you reach that goal. If it takes you longer, that's okay, especially if you can find a job that you like. Continue to work there, or find one that you like, that you don't mind working there for a long time. And lastly, consider retirement alternatives like working part-time, geo-arbitrage, where you move to a different city, state, or even a country that has a low cost of living where you can maintain your same salary. This happened a lot during the pandemic as people moved out of the expensive Bay Area. They kept their same tech salaries but moved to Tennessee where the expenses are much lower, and they were able to bank the difference. That's still happening today as people move to low-cost states and low-cost countries where they can save more, and then when they're retired, their cost of living is much less, where it is much more doable to live on $40,000 a year, for example, whereas in other states like the Bay Area, it costs a minimum of $60,000 to live. So consider also a seasonal job or a sabbatical, taking a year off, taking a mini retirement. Retirement is changing, so what you are planning for is going to have to change too. It doesn't mean that you need to save up that $2.5 million and then go sit on the beach and do nothing. There are a lot of different alternatives you can look at. And I outlined more of those in detail in this video here called Alternatives to Early Retirement. And that will be linked down below as well. I encourage you to check that out to give you some ideas on how your early retirement may look, how your financial independence may look, a little bit different than the traditional way that we've always thought about it. Give you some ideas on how you can achieve it much quicker and more doable than you might think. So that's it. Those are the tips on how to save enough for retirement in 10 years or less, especially if you haven't started at all. If you're starting late, if you're starting early, then that's great. You can finish earlier, get into a better position. It takes discipline and planning, but it is definitely possible. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.